Now that you're getting better familiarized with the WebDriver wait, the expected conditions, the understanding of explicit waits, let me show you some custom modifications, how to clean up your code and make it look a little bit better. And then, of course, I need to tell you about a huge announcement that came from Selenium that's going to change the way we do everything. So one thing that you can do now is I've created this test here, test for explicit wait rendered after. I'll show you exactly what it does. However, if you wanted to get rid of these expected conditions and to just have these methods present here, what you can do is actually it's called a static import. So if I come up here and I uncomment this line of code, using static openqa.selenium.support.ui.expected conditions, we now have removed the need to use expected conditions anywhere that we want. So now instead of doing that, I can do something like this. So obviously a preference. For me, it's a little bit more readable and obviously less code. So now it reads something like wait until element to be clickable, or wait until element is visible, something like that. So much more readable and again reduces code. It's just a preference, but if you would like, you have that option. The other things that I wanted to introduce you to were the different configuration options that are available on the wait. The wait, the WebDriver wait, which actually inherits from a default wait class. But the WebDriver wait, what you can do is you can set an ignore exception types method, and that will allow you to ignore different types of exceptions that might be encountered while the wait is performing its operation. So for example, you might be able to ignore a WebDriver timeout exception, or you might want to ignore a page, I'm not sure, invalid upper cast exception or some other exception that you don't want to be present whenever this is being evaluated. Keep in mind, however, you can't ignore the WebDriver timeout exception because that is the very basis of these methods right here. So you can't ignore this one, but you can ignore others. This is an okay method. I've had very few instances where I needed to use it, but you might find a need. I'm just making you aware. The other thing that you can do in order to customize your wait is you can add a message. The message is something that's going to be thrown whenever your WebDriver wait fails. So if you're unhappy with the WebDriver timeout exception message that says unable to find element, blah blah blah, waited for this amount of seconds, you can say, you know, something like here's the element that we're waiting for. Let me navigate to it real quick. I forget which, finish. Okay. So finish. So try to wait with ID finish, but the element wasn't clickable on the page after 5 seconds. So it's just something more customizable, something that's available if you would like a more customized message, something that's more user-friendly. This is something I've used sometimes. You may find, you know, just a preference whether you want a customized message for your failure or not, and you'll see how this message manifests itself whenever this actually fails. And okay, so with all of that coded and written, what I've done here is I actually finished up this test that goes to element rendered after URL. And so what it's going to do is attempt to wait for our element, right, which was with the ID finish. And that is not present because it's only rendered after we click a button in the HTML. So of course, this is going to wait for 5 seconds and then it's going to throw a WebDriver timeout exception, which I catch, and then I proceed with the rest of the actions, which is waiting for, or trying, I click the button with the tag name button, and then I wait for that element again for 10 seconds this time. As you see, I've used another customization of the WebDriverWait in wait.timeout, and I reset it instead of the previous 5 seconds that we had set here before. I've customized it to be 10 seconds because I think that that is a better time to wait for that. And so let me place a breakpoint here, and I'm gonna run this test so you'll see exactly what's happening, and I'll better explain it as everything is going on. And of course, let me place the Visual Studio over here on the left, on the right actually. And then we'll wait for the browser to come up while the tests are spinning up. There it goes. See the play button, it started going. Now we've got our browser on the left-hand side. And so now it's waiting for 5 seconds for that finish element to be found. However, the finish element is not found. And so a WebDriver timeout exception is thrown. And if we look at the immediate window, at the wait.message, this is the message that would be thrown with our WebDriver timeout exception. So you can see there's that message that we wrote. And so now we can step over this, and actually I'm going to let it run, and all it's going to do is click the button. You can see that now it started loading. We have no idea how long this might load for, but I've set a maximum amount of time of 10 seconds. And once it finished loading, it again checked for the element to be visible, which is the element that we were waiting for with the ID success. And in this case, the test has now finally passed. All fixed explicitly and now working. Because even though the element was rendered after the fact, we were now able to wait for it dynamically and find the element on the page.